Many people would be surprised to learn that AI has roots that date to the 1930s, when a researcher named Alan Turing began tinkering with the idea of designing highly intelligent computer systems. This was the foundation from which decades of innovation began, from Shaky the robot in the 1960s, which navigated an entirely unknown environment using cameras and computer systems successfully, if not a little shakily, to Deep Blue, an IBM computer which was advanced enough to beat world champion chess player Garry Kasparov in the 1990s, to NASA rovers, which roamed Mars with AI technology in the early 2000s, to, more recently, a bunch of consumer applications with which we're all familiar, things like Siri, Alexa, Google Maps, Netflix, etc. The progress in AI technology realized over the last several decades, it's all been made possible by exponential growth in computer processing capabilities. This growth interestingly began to plateau in the mid-2010s until NVIDIA changed everything with new chip architectures that re-accelerated processing power. On the back of NVIDIA came the birth of the latest technology and innovation in AI, generative AI. Generative AI was invented by researchers at Google with an innovation called the Large Transformer Model, a computer algorithm that ingests, stores, and leverages vast amounts of data. But it wasn't until 2022 that generative AI truly entered the public consciousness, when OpenAI launched, you guessed it, ChatGPT. ChatGPT really was the aha moment for consumers, investors, and businesses alike, something that culminated decades of research and ideas and showed that the technology truly was ready for prime time. Service reached 100 million monthly active users in just 2 months, by far the fastest growing consumer application in history. And it's, worth spending some time to reflect on how amazing it really is. ChatGPT doesn't just recall facts. I mean, yeah, it can ace the SAT and the bar exam, but it can really understand context too. I'll tell it to write me a rap song about the intricacies of corporate split-offs and financial engineering, and it'll probably turn out something that both intrigues and delights. Here we are 2 years after the launch of ChatGPT, and things seem to be evolving at a very rapid pace. Remember Alan Turing, our friend from the beginning? Just this week, a robot named Ada painted a portrait of Alan Turing that sold in Sotheby's for over $1 million.
The portrait has a fractured and layered quality, reflecting our current fragmented and multifaceted worlds.
Ada named the painting AI God. That's pretty freaky. Anyways, let's not get too far down the rabbit hole of wacky AI applications. Let's get back to the task at hand. When it comes to AI, where is the money going? Who are the beneficiaries? And what is the best investment strategy? I like to think about the AI technology as consisting of a value chain with 3 layers. At the micro layer, you have chip and server companies, which create the processors and systems that run AI algorithms and programs. Semis, microprocessors, networking companies, server companies, they create something like the brain of AI. At a middle layer, you have an ecosystem of infrastructure providers needed to house and operate these machines in a physical environment. Data center operators, energy companies, utilities, power and thermal management, equipment specialists. These companies are coming together to build AI's house and neighborhood. I mean, data centers you could think of as AI suburbia. That's maybe a stretch. At the top of the value chain, you have model and application developers who are working to create useful products and services using AI technology. This is kind of like AI's 9 to 5, art projects, purpose, etc.
What is your purpose in life?
My core purpose? To foster meaningful connections between humans and technology, bridging gaps with empathy and understanding.
This layer is where things get really interesting for consumers. There's a lot of early promising use cases like autonomous driving, drug development, ADA. It's safe to say financial impacts and returns for early leaders at the micro layer are very real, evidenced by NVIDIA already tracking above $100 billion in revenues. At the middle layer, things are a little earlier, but we have increasing confidence that many companies are building large AI businesses. Microsoft Azure, for example, already generating about $10 billion in annualized AI services revenues, up from 0 just 2 years ago. Back to that top layer, the application layer, This is in much earlier stages. Dozens of billion-dollar startups, no shortage of potential use cases. This is a layer we're watching very closely. It's still very small. It's going to need to proliferate to fuel the ongoing investment cycle, but early signs are promising. Our growth team at Gabelli is thinking a lot about AI. We're also using it in our day-to-day research process. We're using it to help us write investment memos. We're using it to help us build basic valuation models. We are very excited about this technology from an investment standpoint and strongly believe it has many years of growth ahead. For the sake of our clients, AI has also been a nice source of returns over the last few years. And that is very real, right? I'm just kidding. I really am John Belton the human. This is not a deep fake. Thanks for watching.
John, sorry, would you mind doing a highlight of the website, please?
Oh. For more, log on to www.gabelli.com. See, a robot definitely couldn't have done that.
John Belton is a managing director and portfolio manager for Gabelli Growth Team ETF. This podcast is an excerpt from Gabelli TV that appeared on November 19, 2024. Gamco is providing these links as a matter of general information. We do not intend for these links to be a complete description of any security or company, nor is it a research report with respect to any of the companies mentioned herein. As of September 30th, 2024, affiliates of Gamco Investors Incorporated beneficially owned less than 1% of all companies mentioned. The portfolio manager's views are subject to change at any time based on market and other conditions. The information in this posting represents the opinions of the portfolio manager and is not intended to be a forecast of future events, a guarantee of future results, or investment advice. Views expressed are those of the portfolio manager and may differ from those of other Gamco officers, portfolio managers, other employees, or the firm as a whole. Because the investment personnel at Gamco and our affiliates make individual investment decisions with respect to the client accounts that they manage, these accounts may have transactions inconsistent with the information contained in this posting. Certain Gamco personnel may know the substance of the posting prior to its posting. This webcast is not an offer to sell any security, nor is it a solicitation of an offer to buy any security. For more information, a prospectus, or summary prospectus, visit our website at www.gabelli.com or call 800-GABELLI or 800-422-3554-914-921-5100 fax 914-921-5118 info@gabelli.com.